I welcome back everyone. And my guest today again is Favor, a mental health advocate from Nigeria, who is became a mental health advocate because during COVID, when people in were just stuck in the house. And so we talked about that last episode. We were talking about finding gratitude amidst depression. And today we're going to talk about men's mental health and, how important it is it is a stigma for men. And I'm going to have Favor join us right now. So let me just make sure. Okay. I'm going to make sure that she's connecting. So I'm just waiting for her to join. Um, Thank you, by the way, everyone. I know it's Christmas time and you're shopping and trying to get and the holidays in general. So Hanukkah just happened to fall this year on the Christmas right at the same time. So a lot of people call it the Jewish Christmas, but it kind of has nothing to do with Christmas, but it doesn't matter. Whatever you celebrate, I hope that you're you're have a peaceful, joyful moments with your family and friends, that you are safe and happy, and that Christmas brings you joy, and that you're in a good place, even though with the hectic, everything is so crazy around Christmas, especially so close to Christmas. So I'm waiting for Favor to join, and we're going to talk about the reason I wanted to do men's health is because it's just something, it's a stigma around men asking for help, and for men in general, for you know um checking in. And there's so much expected of men. They are, providers, supporters, and they're they it's just often overlooked. It's an overlooked topic. And we talk about depression and finding gratitude, and we don't want to leave out men in general, because they are, our brothers, our fathers, um, and sometimes, there's men who are single. And we talked about, a little bit before about the rise in suicides during this time of the year. And so that's it's a topic close to my heart, to for it's important that men get the care that they need just as much as everyone else does. So with that said, and I'll tell a little bit about Favor. So she contacted me, Favor. I think she prefers to call Favor. She prefers to be called Favor, and she has a company. She's trying to start a company called Foss Culture. I think it's FOSKULTURE. So she's gonna have like a brand where she's going to sell items with positive affirmations, I think, on them, t-shirts and bags and things like that. And and here she is. Hi.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back here.
Thank you for joining. Let
Thank you
me,
so much. But can you hear me?
can you
Can
hear
they
me?
hear me too? Yes, I can hear you clearly.
You can hear me clearly. So I'm using a microphone now, so that I know that I'm
Okay.
loud and maybe I can speak a little softer and I don't have to, trying to
Okay.
be yelling or,
Uh,
um, so I was just telling about your FOSS culture a little bit about what you're doing
okay.
with the positive affirmations, and that's what you're trying to do with your company with the logo.
Yeah,
Did I say it right? It's FOSS, FOS culture, KULTURE. Is that right?
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to start a company eventually, called the Jewish Stripper. The reason I call it the Jewish Stripper, and if you're wondering, is because yes, I used to be a stripper. I have nothing to hide. That's what I used to do like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And it was a long time ago, like 30 years ago.
Yeah,
But the reason I keep this title is because it's unusual and unique. No one else has it. As originally, we had called this podcast Raw and Real, and then I went on the internet and found 1,000 others raw and
on
real.
real.
So I said, okay, I'm not going to be just raw and real. I'm going to be the Jewish stripper raw and real. So, even, I'm not going to say the former stripper, whatever. But
Yeah.
so I want to say this, before we go any further, that I'm not a mental health professional. Neither are you. You're not a mental health professional. You could say we're both mental health advocates. And so, what I wanted to do today, we were promising, and we kept going back and forth, and trying to show your name, trying to figure out. I'm not worried right now about the. Hold on a second. Save,
That's
display the
okay.
name. I'm trying to figure out how the name is displayed, but we'll worry about that later. So, I wanted to talk about today mental health for men, men's mental health, because it's so overlooked often,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that men in general, I'll take my glasses off. So, men in general, get overlooked because they're supposed to be the strong and silent type, and they're supposed to, you know, um, they're the father, often, the husband. They're expected. There's a stigma around men asking for help in
Yeah.
general, and I think that's an important topic.
Yeah.
So I'll let you elaborate a little bit on what you feel is important in that area.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast again, The Jewish Stripper.
My
So
pleasure.
wonderful. Yeah, it's so wonderful to be back here. So, I think I'm going to start with a question, and I need the people who are going to go back to this podcast to watch it to just respond on the comments and give us a response to these questions I'm going to ask. Like, have you ever wondered why so many men keep their struggles to themselves? Why is it that so many men they keep their struggles to themselves? Or why it feel harder for men to open up about their mental health? How many of you have ever wondered why? Why is it that you will even see a man figure in your life struggling? he will rather choose to keep quiet, to be silent about the whole thing. And this is not because they are not man enough, it's the reason of the society, what the society has turned the men to. You know, they've right from let's even start from the childhood. Every
Yes.
man in every household has been taught, you know, when children they are growing up, when a girl falls down, maybe playing and mistakenly fall on the floor, she's allowed to cry. She can cry,
Exactly.
and everybody, yeah, so people tell pet her to say sorry, it's okay. But when a man falls and cry, same way, you
Boys don't
see,
cry.
you don't cry, you just have to man up, and you don't have to cry. You're a boy, don't forget you're a boy, you don't cry. And when the boys started crying, they would tell you you are behaving like a girl. So even when they are
Don't be
hurting,
weak. That's
exactly.
a weak
So if
that it's a
yeah,
weakness.
the society view it as a sign of weakness. So even when they are hurting from childhood, they are taught to keep the pain inside. So you know these things grow with them, and they've learned to bottle up all emotions inside of them, and it's just so unfortunate. But thank God, because right now a lot of men are coming out now to speak up about this issue. A lot of men are coming out to speak about this issue. I always use Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, to kind of elaborate this more, because he's one of the front liner that champion mental health for men, telling the story that men do suffer, and he shares practical examples, his own life experiences. So men do struggle from mental health challenges. Are we? Can you
Yeah.
hear me still?
Yes. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You can hear my mic.
And
I have my mic all the
yes,
way down here. Got the little
okay,
fluffy
okay, I
microphone
can.
here.
All right,
So
I can
I
hear you.
Is that I
Okay,
don't
go
always
ahead.
speak too softly, so I wanted to I don't really have noise to be reduced, but I just want to like sometimes I'm trying to project a little too much. So, yeah, it's such a an important thing because yeah, the first thing I think that men learn as children that often is that becomes for them, and I would love people to come in and comment if they we where
Yeah,
you can comment live on the chat, and it's a big thing when boys are taught you don't boys don't cry,
right. Yeah,
that you're weak, you're weak for crying, and it starts
yeah,
very, very early. And I mean, probably even at 2 or 3 years old, when they're still
yeah.
babies, but that, oh, you're a boy, you're not supposed to cry.
Right.
Don't
Yeah,
Yeah, and so yeah, girls and boys are raised differently than women are. Girls are allowed to express their emotions even
yeah,
from an early age. It's okay for girls to express their emotion and for boys to keep it in, to keep it inside. And
mm-hmm.
that when that grows into manhood, and when there's like I said, there's such a stigma for men to ask for help mentally,
Yeah,
to feel, to even to admit being overwhelmed. And a lot of the I think that a lot of men who become maybe abusive in
mm-hmm.
down in their lives, in their relationships, if they become abusive towards women, they're or if they just are not expressive, and they had some kind of there's a big stigma for men to admit that they went through trauma in general, that
Mm-hmm.
that that men um they may have experienced abuse themselves.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be physical, it could have been emotional, with parents or whoever was raising them. And so there's such a stigma that not only when it starts from boys don't cry, but when it goes into manhood, and they have a hard time, they're not supposed to say I'm overwhelmed. They're not
Yeah.
supposed to say they're not supposed to say I went through trauma and this is why I'm like this. They're
Yeah.
not supposed to deal with they're not supposed to deal with their feeling. They're supposed to be the strong, silent type that just takes care of business.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I'll
Okay.
let you talk
You know,
about that.
yeah, so the truth is, the sad truth of this whole thing is that many men are battling mental health silently. They are facing this mental health challenge silently, and it doesn't just affect them alone. It affects their family, their friends, productivity, and so many other things that it affects. So now, when we are talking about men's mental health, it's so important when men prioritize their mental health. So we are talking to the men. We hopefully, if we get to do this again, we're going to have a man come up to speak up about the importance of men's mental health from the men perspective, so that I think it will give some of the men that are watching us right now a safe space to come out, and not just two women sitting in front of the camera just talking about men's mental health. And
Yeah.
I think some people might be wondering, what do they know about men's mental health? What do they know? I've had a case of a man coming up to speak on men's mental health, the challenges that men go through. That
And maybe we
I
could have a guest in the future,
Yeah, so
someone
we
that
can.
from a male perspective. I tried to find someone, but it's really honestly, it's difficult for men to even want to come and speak their perspective, because I think that they feel, oh, I don't want to be public with my thoughts on
Mm-hmm.
my I don't want, or people don't want to necessarily, not just men, but it's I'm not I started this podcast because originally I wanted to talk about issues important to women, and I know there's probably already a million podcasts that do that. And so, like, what would make my podcast different? uh the difference there is that I think that from past relationships and being through trauma myself, I may have a perspective. Everyone is individual. So you have your experiences. No one
Yeah.
has no one has my experiences. No
Yeah.
one's ever had, and I'm not an expert, as I said. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a
Yeah.
mental health professional, but I just think that maybe I have some insights into um some psychological things, where because I have been through the trauma, and I also watched in my relationships the men go through their traumas, and I've watched men in my life struggle with mental health. And one of the reasons that what what could I think makes me in particular different is I truly want people to heal. It's not like a selfish thing where I just think, oh, I just want to be famous and have this podcast, that, oh, I'm going to make money with this podcast. I truly want to talk about things that heal people,
Yeah.
that where that someone, if I brought healing today to one person, then it was worth for me to do this, to take the
Yeah.
time to do this. And I've seen the men, like I said, in my life, in my relationships, struggle with mental health and not being able to open up. And just when you say to a man, what are you going through? What's wrong? And the answer is often, I'm fine.
Mm,
And so when, that thing, that right there, when you're talking about, I'm fine, everything is fine, leave me alone. And but I've seen a man cry. I've seen a man cry. I've seen a man, I've had a man talk about his experiences of being abused as a child by his father. I've
mm,
seen a man, you know, really, and at that time, and when he was crying, he was regressing right there in front of me into childhood,
mm,
into that moment, when when the abuse was happening. And so, um, to see that, it brought tears to my eyes. And so I think there's so many people, men out there. And the thing is that women are dealing with that. Women are also in a relationship where they're dealing with the trauma of someone, or their, whatever their experience is with their partner. Or it could be not necessarily women in a relationship. It could be someone, a friend that, a male friend that's close to you, or a
yeah.
coworker. It doesn't, it could be your brother, your cousin, whatever. So there's just such a stigma, I think, about men going to therapy, men possibly having to get on medication. There's so many people self-medicating too. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people who self-medicate with, drugs and alcohol, and they're stuffing down their feelings with drugs and alcohol. And that's also, a huge problem,
Yeah.
because that that's not really an answer to it's not a solution to the problem.
Yeah.
In fact, it can make it worse.
What I want to say is that, when men prioritize their mental health, it builds a better connection, and it improves their productivity, whether in the family, at work. Productivity is improved, and even protect their physical health.
Yeah.
The truth of, yeah, the truth of this whole thing is that it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. You
Yes.
don't have to survive it, so you have to thrive. And mental health doesn't fit itself. You can't just sit down and think it's going to fit itself. No, it's a journey. And the first thing you must do is to start. You need to speak up. If you're suffering and you're watching us right now, you need to speak up. There's no shame in that. You have to speak up. I'll quickly just share something. According to, I had to, you have to research and do so many other things, and check the statistics of men who are suffering globally from mental health issue. I'll quickly just read to you now. Here's what's alarming.
Thank you. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, so here's what's alarming. Around the world, over 510 million men are dealing with mental health issues like anxiety and depression. But what's even scarier, 77% of suicide globally are men. Did you get that? 77% of suicide globally,
77%.
yeah, are men. Are men. that's not because men don't care about their lives. It's because they often feel there's no safe space to talk about their struggle.
Exactly.
That's the problem. They feel no safe space. If I communicate, it's going to be viewed as I'm weak, I'm not man enough. Studies show that 4 in 10 men never talk about their mental health. They never talk about it, and that's a lot of pain hidden behind silence. So that's why you don't have to be among the 77 that is not speaking up. The fact that you speak up is a sign of strength. It means you are very, very courageous and you're bold, you're strong. Only your story can save other men. You coming out to speak up about your mental health can be a channel of blessing to others to come out as well. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. Life is worth enjoying. You don't have to struggle, you don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to do it all by yourself.
And it's
So
not all solved in one day, just like
that's why it's a
any
journey.
problem.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel safe, I just went on the chat and I just said, please reach out if you would like to comment.
Yeah.
But it, if do you feel safe with a specific person, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go to a therapist, you don't have to go see a psychiatrist. Maybe, when someone just asks you, how are you doing? And
Yeah.
it could be, it could be your significant other, it could be
Yeah.
a friend. And if you share a little bit of the problem, sometimes, just sharing a little bit is like putting down a ton of bricks.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
like just, and sometimes, and even, they say that the solution to a problem, if you share it, then the problem becomes half,
Half so. Yeah.
half solved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
So okay,
go ahead.
go ahead. Okay. So the question now is, why should men speak up? Why are we coming out to talk about these things? Why are we saying, why should men speak up? Why should you speak up? Number one, it will break the cycle of silence,
Yes.
because we have to break this cycle. It's affecting homes. We started by saying this whole issue of silent battling your mental health is silent is affecting your family, is
Your
affecting your
children,
friends, your children, your productivity. Like every aspect of your life is suffering as a result of battling your mental health all by yourself. You can't fix it yourself. You have to, at a point, you have to let people in. So the first step to solving the problem is by breaking the cycle. When one man speaks, it encourages others to follow. Just one man speaking, others will be encouraged to follow suit. Secondly, it allows for a clear intervention. When you speak early, a lot of damages will be done. There will be a quick intervention and catching problem before they become something else. And the third one I also want to speak about is, it's a way to heal. When you speak up, you are halfway to healing. You're
and
halfway
I
to heal.
just want to interject that we're all human.
Yeah.
We're all human, and it's not, you're not, a lot of people, men feel that they're being emasculated if they speak up. And so just remember that just because you're a man, you're human.
You're
You're
human,
not,
yeah.
you don't have to be Superman.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. That's right. And another thing I would like to say is that you bottling up your emotion only create more pains. By the time you bottle up all the emotions, you're creating more pains, more damages to yourself. Not just your mental health now, your physical health as well will suffer at the long run. Expression, on the other hand, is empowering. you expressing your mental, that's empowerment right there. And it's the first step to reclaiming control. You have to speak up. At a point you have to speak up. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to do it all by yourself. There's a community of support right here. So you speaking, this is a safe space. You can come and speak up.
And
And okay.
you can go to, like we were talking about last episode,
Yeah.
about digging deep into your faith,
Yeah.
and whatever your background is, whatever your faith is, if you go to a church, you can speak to a church member,
Yeah.
or a preacher or a minister. You
Mm,
can reach out to someone that is it's confidential, that that's not going to go, it's going to stay
spreading.
between the two of you. Or
Yeah.
you can whoever you feel comfortable
Safe.
reaching out
Yeah.
to.
That's right. That's right. There's a lot of community of support. And I just want to quickly say this. If you're a man watching us right now and you feel you're the person we're talking about, feel free to reach out. This is a safe space, so you feel free to reach out. At a point, each and every one of us has had our own share of mental health struggle, but we came and we spoke. We speak up. That's why we're here. So if we didn't speak up, we would have still been suffering in silence. It's because we spoke up. We speak up. Sorry. So that's why we are here. So you have to speak up. You speaking up does not mean you're weak. That shows a sign of strength. It means you have strength within you to speak up. You don't have to just keep all the emotions, bottle up all the emotions. And the most important thing for every man to know is this: it's okay not to have it all together. You don't have to have everything all working together for you. It's okay. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's
and
not weak.
and if
Okay.
you say if you say that for that moment you're not okay, someone
Mm.
says, "Are you okay?" It's okay not to say,
To be I'm
"I'm not
okay.
okay."
Yeah.
Um, and just to admit that is a big step, for especially for women. It's easier. We have a circle of friends, or we have female um people, we have support, and it's almost like it's expected now of women to just be you know uh very forthright with their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And women just tend to talk more. But and men, they hang out in groups. And hold on a second, my computer's about to die, so I have to charge it.
That's okay.
So excuse me, sorry
That's okay.
about that. So in any case, I think that we've um I'm gonna have to turn my microphone off because I have to charge it
So
into where it goes into charge.
that's
Hold on
okay.
one.
Unfortunately, I can't hear you. Can you turn on your computer audio? I still can't hear you. So sorry about the technical issues. These things happened. I can't hear you. I think you should disconnect your mic from the computer so that we can hear you directly from the audio. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
My
That's okay.
computer was going dead, and where I plug in the microphone is the place where you have to charge it. Sorry
That's
about
okay.
that.
Yeah,
So, in any case, yeah, continue what you were saying. I'm sorry.
that's okay. So I said the most important thing for every man to know is this: it's okay not to have it all together. That's one.
Just like
Vulnerability.
anyone.
Yes. So vulnerability is not weakness; it's courage. And by speaking up, you're not only helping yourself, you're showing the men around you that it's possible to find strength in honesty. You being honest with yourself. You're showing
And
other men
speaking up
around you.
is strength. And speaking up is
Exactly.
strength. You're not being weak. You are
E-
actually stronger by speaking up.
Exactly. So I will conclude by saying let's break the stigma and one
Yes.
conversation at a time. One
And
conversation.
hopefully, maybe next time around when we do this, maybe not next week, because, with the
Yeah.
New Year's, with all the holidays
Holiday
and
and
everything.
exactly.
And I usually actually used to do this podcast on Monday nights at 7 p.m., every Monday night at 7 p.m. But 7 p.m. for you is like in the middle of the night
Of the night. That's right.
or early in the morning. I
Earlier
think,
in
how
the
many
morning.
hours are we apart that you're ahead of
Okay.
us by several hours, I think.
Yeah. So I this is 9:40 here.
Yeah, p.m. Yeah.
PM.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So 7 p.m. My time is really early,
It's
like 4 o'clock
early in
in the
the
morning.
morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, because that's why I used to do the podcast at 7 o'clock, or every Monday, around 7 o'clock every Monday. But
Okay.
yeah, to conclude, hopefully there's someone watching who is would be interested, if a guy is interested, to be a guest and give their point of view of men's about mental health and self-care. But yeah, I think that we can just leave it that you are strong by asking for help. You
Yeah.
are showing strength for speaking up, breaking the cycle, breaking the stigma, and
Yeah.
leave it I always like to leave it in a positive place. So,
Exactly.
speaking up is strength, and
It's strength. It's a sign of
you're
strength.
not only healing yourself, but
You're healing
you're
others
helping to heal everyone around you.
around you. Yeah, that's right. So just lastly before we go, I think I'm going to update you on that. So that there is something a webinar Force Culture is organizing strictly for men. We actually wanted to have it on Men's International Day. So due to
When
some
is that?
technical, that was last month. The
Oh, okay.
when on the 19th, that was where we wanted to do it, but due to some technical challenge and all other hosts, we could not do it. So we are bringing it back on, and we are going to talk about mental health challenges in our culture. Culture also varies. Culture also adds to
Yes.
this whole thing. So we are bringing it up very soon on First Culture. Though I'm going to
Well, that's
update.
exciting.
Yes, so I'm going to update you on that because we are bringing bunch of experts to come and talk about mental health experts, licensed therapists, and all that. So they'll be on that panel to talk about it. So I will update
Maybe
you.
we could make a home podcast out of that.
Yeah, so I will
That would
update
be
you
like,
when.
I think I can have up to like 10 guests.
So I will
So
update
we
you
could
when
have
the time.
multiple guests.
So I will update you when the time is right, and whoever wants to come up there, you can ask as well. Just let us know.
That would be great. That would be great. Well,
Thank you
thank
so much.
you. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining again. It was a
thank
pleasure to
you.
have you.
Thank you for
I know
having
it's
me.
late, so you need to go to sleep.
That's right.
So This is the last episode before Christmas. So,
Christmas.
and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. So I just want, we celebrate so many different holidays. It just happened that Hanukkah fell on, we have the Jewish calendar moves around differently. So it's not the same every year. So this year Hanukkah just happened to fall on Christmas. And if you're interested in Hanukkah, it's the festival of lights. It was a miracle for the Jewish people. If you're interested in that, you can go Google it. But I just want to wish everyone, again, a joyous, happy, peaceful,
Christmas.
yeah, a very Merry Christmas, Happy
Yeah.
Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy everything. I probably
Mhm.
won't do the podcast until the new year again. And maybe by then, if you want to talk to this event sounds very exciting. So for the men's mental health, so maybe you can talk to some men who would like to come on and be a guest and give a point of view, the men's point of view.
Yeah,
That
that's
would be
fine.
exciting. So
Mm.
I will also wish everyone a happy, prosperous new year
New
as
Year.
well.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not going to do anything until after January 3rd again. So everybody have a very happy holiday season. Be safe
Yeah.
and enjoy.
Enjoy and don't try to control everything. Make
And
time
don't
for
go
rest.
crazy
Yeah.
over.
Make time
Yeah,
for rest. You don't have to be at every party. When you don't feel like going, please rest.
you
Merry
can say
Christmas,
no.
everyone.
Yeah, you can
Yes,
set boundaries. You can say no. You don't
exactly.
have to go crazy because it's the holiday season.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yeah,
Thank you
thank
all so
you.
much. Thank you, Hala.
My
Merry
pleasure.
Christmas to you as
Merry
well, and
Christmas to
prosperous
you.
New Year. Thank
You
you.
too. All
All
right.
right. Do
Bye.
have a lovely day. Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Kisses, hugs.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.